Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Daincast. This time we have another game from Lucasdart, who I had just casted, and I have to apologize for because I didn't realize the player he was playing against and got absolutely destroyed by in the last game was a Grandmaster Terran player. So the fact that he put up such a good fight, and I didn't even realize it was a GM, really tells you that Lucas is a tenacious young man. And he's got another game for us here. This time it's a Terran versus Protoss, and this is around 4K MMR on the EU server. I think this is a ladder game given their player color. So let's introduce these players. In the top right-hand corner of Eternal Empire, we have our young prodigy, Lucasdart. And his opponent in the bottom left-hand corner, he is the blue Protoss known as Kerdinand. Franz Kerdinand? Lucasdarts? Many, many mysterious claims to fame from both of these players. Now, this is a TVP, and I know that Lucas's TVP has been getting pretty strong lately. He's been practicing with some people who are significantly higher than him, and he's able to take a game off once in a while, which tells you that against someone who's his own rank, he should be in pretty good shape. We'll have to see how he decides to approach this one. A little bit of annoying probe micro here on the building SCV. This is really frustrating to deal with, especially if you end up losing this SCV, but I think Lucas got a little bit lucky there with the pathing of his SCV, and now he's going to repair it actually in the end. So this is going to be really annoying if he loses this. So far, nice probe micro, I have to say, from Franz Kerdinand. He has managed to keep this probe alive, and he's nearly killed an SCV, so that's going to be nice. Meanwhile, the SCV from Lucas is going to try and be a little bit annoying himself, and it's going to be a Nexus before Cybernetics Core for the Protoss player. So his core is going to be a little bit late compared to normal, and he's not going to be able to have that Adept come out to defend the Reaper as quickly as he might otherwise like to. Now, Lucas is going to try and take his natural here without any issues, and this is going to be a pretty standard Reaper expand overall from him. So if this Reaper was rallied across right now, he'd be able to go in and maybe do some damage. You can see the core isn't even done yet, and the Reaper is on the way. So there's definitely a window of time where Terran can do a little bit of damage if the Protoss goes Nexus before core, but that time is very narrow, actually. And if you waste time with your Reaper dallying around, you're actually not going to be able to do anything about it. Now, there is going to be a Stalker here from Kerdinand. Looks like he doesn't really want to bother with the Adept there, which is going to give Lucas maybe a little bit more opportunities to juke around, because the Adept has that ability to shade, and it can shade right on top of that Reaper and kill it really easily with only a few hits. So this is actually, I think, nice for Lucas that this Protoss has decided to go for the Stalker, and it also is going to mean that it's going to be a lot harder for him to scout what Lucas is doing. Now, Lucas is going for what looks like a 1-1-1, probably a Widowmine drop if I know him as well as I think I do. And so this is something that Kerdinand might just assume is the case because it's a very common build. But if Lucas wasn't going for that, and if he was going for something else, I think he's going to sacrifice this Reaper here for a few probes, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but I think you want to keep that alive to scout what's going on. He is going to be able to see that there's two gates here from the Protoss, which is a strange choice because most of the time you go for a tech building before you go for the extra units and you go for the gateways here. So this could indicate that Kerdinand is doing some kind of a pressure, and it looks like he is actually going to go for a Stargate in this situation, which is relatively late compared to when you see most Stargates, but we'll have to see how he decides to play it. He could just go for those classic Phoenixes. But these Stalkers moving out on the map is going to mean that this little scouting Hellion could potentially just go into the natural here and do a little bit of damage. So I have to see if Lucas is able to defend against these. He does have the bunker. I think we've talked him into going for a bunker every game. So this is going to kind of stonewall these horrific Stalkers that actually go for this chicken here and kill it. Now, with a little bit of micro, the Stalkers could actually kill all these Marines basically for free, but he wasn't paying attention, so he lost a Stalker for free. Lucas is going to lose a Marine, but I think losing a Marine for a Stalker is a pretty good trade in the mind of a Terran, especially since he's just going to be making them 2 at a time, and Protoss wants to be skipping units for a long time. Now, it is going to be a Fleet Beacon here after the Oracle for our Terran player. Now, this is quite interesting, and Lucas is just going to scout this straight away. Now, you can see this is the problem with going for this kind of strategy. If the Terran does consistently scout like he is here with just sending a single Hellion, and he's going to know exactly what's going on. Now, it's up to Lucas to figure out how he wants to defend against this, though. Now, he is going for a tech lab on his starport, and he's going to go for a fast third base. So maybe he figures there's no way that this Protoss can do a lot of pressure on me anytime soon because he's going for this really high-tech play. So I'm going to get a third base up as soon as possible. And he's even going to go for a reactor on the starport. So this is going to be nice for him to be able to pump out Vikings 2 at a time to defend against the shenanigans that this Protoss is going for. A lot of Protoss shenanigans get shut down by a Viking or two. You would be surprised. There is an Oracle here going in, which is going to be annoying for Lucas to deal with, especially because he's gone for the tank. And it looks like this Oracle is actually scared of these Marines, even though there were only 3 of them. Lucas is going to be able to scare this away for the time being. He does have his Widowmine drop in position here. And the Protoss is only on 2 bases with many gates and many gases, so he's not going to be taking a third base anytime soon, and he's not making really much of anything out of this starport, so this is a little bit odd here. He's going to go for the Widowmine drop here, and there's no probe pull from this Protoss player, so he's just going to lose. Looks like 12 workers here. Well, maybe not 12, because I think a few were killed by the Reaper, but quite a few workers do go down, and I think he's going to lose this drop as well, but I think that was going to be worth it for him. Now, only 36 workers for the Protoss. Lucas is taking his third base, and he's adding barracks as well. So I think Lucas kind of knows what's going on here. But what I'm confused about here... Oh, it's a mothership rush. Oh, that's why. Mothership. Guys, the mothership. So he just got the fleet beacon for the mothership. So it's going to be a gateway. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gate with mothership. 7, maybe 8 gate with mothership. Now, is this a good build or not? Now, I'm going to say no, but you know what? I don't want to take it away from him. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to work, but you know what? I have dreams. We all have dreams, and you never know what's going to happen. So we got to keep that possibility open. So maybe this mothership is going to work. And now, for the first time in this game, I think I'm rooting against Lucas. Even though Lucas is a friend of mine, I do want to see a mothership build win. I do like this, because if this can win, really anything is possible, and it gives me hope for the future. So I'm really looking forward to that. Now, Lucas is losing, looks like quite a few workers here. So this is going to be a little frustrating for him. But he does have 3 bases. He does have the same amount of workers as the Protoss, which is obviously a great economic situation because you also have mules, but he doesn't have a mothership. And I don't know if Lucas realizes that this is what's happening. He might be thinking to himself, oh, he's going to go for carriers. That's what I would be thinking if I saw Fast Fleet Beacon. I wouldn't be thinking mothership because... quite frankly, this isn't a great build. I mean, this is something that's very risky. What does the mothership actually do? It cloaks your units. All right, now, does Lucas have detection? I mean, he's got a turret. He's got 3 orbital commands. And he's saving a bit of energy on them as well. So, you know, you never know. You never know. Now, Lucas is going to go for a drop here, realizing that there's actually nothing watching and there's no observer here. So this is going to mean that Kerdinand is going to be going out onto the map with this mothership. Now, I think we can kind of predict what's going to happen here, guys, because mothership has a spell called Recall. And he's got 7 gates worth of stuff. He's going to group all his units up in one spot. And he's going to teleport them right inside this base. Now, this is going to be a little awkward, because at the same time that this is happening, Lucas is going to be going for a double drop. Now, all these units are in kind of position here to defend this drop. So this isn't the biggest thing in the world, but Lucas doesn't really have anything to defend against the recall. He's got a tank, he's got some Marines and Marauders, he's got a few Widow Mines at his third. So this is a little awkward. So Lucas has to play this very cautiously, because this actually is dangerous. Believe it or not, this is actually very dangerous for him, because if these Protoss units get on top of his production, it could be really awkward for him to try and defend. Now, maybe not impossible, but with this drop, this is going to delay things quite a lot, because for Kerdinand, I almost called him Ferdinand, Kerdinand is going to want to... Oh, no, Lucas, you need to leave. You need to leave, Lucas. You need to leave. Now, there's going to be a recall, like, immediately after this, I bet. So the mothership is in position. Lucas does have quite a few units here, but not this many. And the mothership has the ability to recall. Let's see if he is able to get it. Lucas is focus firing it down, but now there's a recall. Lucas going right on top of the production, and now there are so many units, and they have cloak as well. This is so dangerous. The sentries with force fields as well. This has got to be frustrating to deal with, especially after having that drop available to you. If he would have kept that alive, he could be base trading right now, but this is going to be really awkward for Lucas to deal with. He doesn't actually have that many units. He does have a fair amount of an arc here, so if he is able to close the gap here, if he's able to get this mothership core down, he could be in a decent position. But as his production comes out, it's getting just like lambs to the slaughter here, but it's mostly stalkers for our Protoss opponent, and he has lost most of his probes at his natural, so this is very all in for our Protoss player, which is, I think, exactly how Lucas wants it. And now the Mothership core does, Mothership does go down along with the rest of the units here. So this is looking really good for Lucas now. So there is going to be a GG and a victory for our Terran friend.